Week 18 Day 1. Abortive fruitless, useless, failing sense the divers made an abortive attempt to rescue the dog from the murky waters. Abortive adjective he made 2 abortive attempts on the French throne. An abortive uprising led to his exile. Abort verb and to stop something before it has begun, or to cause something to fail before it is complete. Engineers aborted the test flight at the last minute. To end a pregnancy, before a baby is fully developed. Abortion noun and the intentional ending of a pregnancy. She decided to get an abortion. Abortion is restricted in some American states. Slang a failure, this project is a complete abortion. Modify to change sense, because Phil refused to modify his philosophy, the directors were forced to invalidate his appointment. Sense modify change verb to change something such as a plan, opinion, law or way of behavior slightly, usually to improve it or make it more acceptable. Instead of simply punishing them, the system encourages offenders to modify their behavior. The proposals were unpopular and were only accepted in a modified form. Modification noun C or U. Modification of the engine to run on lead-free fuel is fairly simple. A couple of modifications and the speech will be perfect. Sense modify limit verb specialized. If a word or phrase modifies another word or phrase used with it, it limits or adds to its meaning. In the sentence she ran quickly, the adverb quickly modifies the verb ran. Modification noun U. Specialized modifier noun C. Specialized in safety barrier, the noun safety is being used as a modifier. Accommodate to make fit, adjust to. Sense a quarrel was precipitated outburst, when the dietitian refused to accommodate the patient's special needs. Sense accommodate suit. Sense V to make fit, adjust to. Sense accommodating. Sense V. Some find it hard to accommodate themselves to the new working environment. Sense I'm sure she'll help you, she's always very accommodating. Describes person who is eager or willing to help other people, e.g. by changing their plans. Sense accommodate find a place for. Sense V to provide with a place to live, or to be stored in. There wasn't enough space to accommodate the files. Sense in a place to live, work or stay. We have first and second class accommodation on this flight. Spontaneous without preparation, unrehearsed. Sense my English teacher had admonished me. I realized that the speech was to be spontaneous, but it was not supposed to be incoherent or fraught with fallacious statements. Sense spontaneous adjective happening or done in a natural, often sudden way, without any planning or without being forced. His jokes seemed spontaneous, but were in fact carefully prepared beforehand. Approving she's such a spontaneous, lively woman. Spontaneously adverb the liquid spontaneously ignited. Spontaneity noun U. Approving the script has a refreshing spontaneity and sparkle. Innate natural. Sense his innate cunning allowed him to see through the spy's subterfuge. Sense innate adjective an innate quality or ability is one that you were born with, not one you have learned. Cyril's most impressive quality was his innate goodness. Innately adverb I don't believe that human beings are innately evil. Under the wire just in time. Sense Hank hesitated about his term paper for 2 months and finally submitted it just under the wire. Teaching chimpanzees to talk. 2 resourceful psychologists at the University of Nevada have made splendid progress in vocabulary development in chimpanzees. Following a number of abortive attempts to teach French, German, or English to chimps, the researchers persevered until they hit upon the American Sign Language system, that is often used by deaf persons. They have had to modify the language somewhat in order to accommodate the animal's spontaneous gestures. With a mixture of innate movements and learned ones, some laboratory chimps now have an extensive vocabulary. Week 18 Day 2. Veneer thin covering. Sense the lieutenant confessed to a veneer of ignorance, in order to properly evaluate his corporal's resourcefulness. Sense veneer noun 1 C or U. A thin layer of decorative wood or plastic used to cover a cheaper material. The wardrobe is made of chipboard with a pine veneer. 2 S something which hides something unpleasant or unwanted. She managed to hide her corrupt dealings under a veneer of respectability. Veneered adjective a veneered bookcase surface table myriad countless numbers. Sense once the hoax cheat had been concocted design in bad manner a myriad of problems arose. Sense myriad noun C literary a very large number of something, a myriad of choices and now myriads of bars and hotels are opening up along the coast. Myriad adjective they offered no solution for all our myriad problems. Urbane polished, witty sense. By embellishing her work with urbane humor, the sophisticated playwright succeeded on Broadway. Sense urbane sense adjective approving especially of a man confident, comfortable and polite in social situations. John Herschel was an urbane, kindly and generous man. Urbanely adverb approving urbanity noun you approving crave, to desire sense. Why did Silas Marner crave wealth and practice cupidity? Sense craving noun see a strong or uncontrollable desire. I have a craving for chocolate. Crave verb t many young children crave attention. Irrelevant not related to the subject. Sense the defendant was alleged to have been an army deserter, but the judge said that was irrelevant to the case. Sense irrelevant adjective not related to what is being discussed or considered and therefore of no importance. These documents are largely irrelevant to the present investigation. Making a large profit is irrelevant to us. The important thing is to make the book available to the largest possible audience. Irrelevance noun C or U formal irrelevancy. Sympathy is an irrelevance. We need practical help. Many of these problems may simply fade into irrelevance when the new rules come into force. Irrelevantly adverb to be at large not confined or in jail. Sense the dangerous criminal was at large, all the townspeople began to buy dogs for protection. Chimpanzees are surprisingly smart. Washoe, the chimpanzee, has more than a veneer of intelligence. She can signal her desire to eat, go in or out, be covered, or brush her teeth. In addition, she can make signs for I'm sorry, I heard, hurry, give me, and a myriad of other terms that are familiar to young children. This urbane animal can indicate that she craves more dessert by putting her fingers together more and then placing her index and second fingers on top of her tongue. Sweet. It is irrelevant that Washoe cannot actually talk. What is important, however, is the consummate complete, highest degrees with which she has mastered her daily assignments. Week 18 Day 3. Deem believe, to judge sense. Whom do you deem to be the bulwark protection of the Republican Party? Sense deem verb t not continuous formal, to consider or judge something in a particular way, plus object plus noun or adjective. The area has now been deemed safe. Plus noun or adjective we will provide help whenever you deem it appropriate. Plus object plus to infinitive anyone not paying the registration fee by 31 March will be deemed to have withdrawn from the scheme. Inherent inborn sense certain mice have an inherent alertness that enables them to conquer the researcher's labyrinth. Sense inherent adjective existing as a natural or basic part of something. There are dangers risks inherent in almost every sport. I have an inherent distrust of lawyers. Inherently adverb there's nothing inherently wrong with his ideas. Buff a fan, follower. Sense the fireman did not have to cajole the enthusiastic Buff into helping them extinguish the blaze. Sense buff color noun U, adjective of a pale yellowish brown color, a buff envelope. Sense buff make shine verb t, to rub an object made of metal, wood or leather in order to make it shine, using a soft, dry cloth. Sense buff person noun C informal a person who knows a lot about and is very interested in a particular subject, a computer opera. Film buff. Sense blind man's buff noun U know a children's game in which one person has a cloth tied over their eyes, and tries to catch the other. Sense in the buff informal make a drop, to move in a lively manner. Sense, when the intercity competition began, our team was supposed to romp over our hapless rivals. Sense romp verb I usually plus adverb or preposition, to play in a rough, excited and noisy way. The children romped happily around about in the garden. Romp noun C usually singular and amusing, energetic and often sexual entertainment or situation. The newspaper headline was Vicar caught in sex romp. Sense romp through sth phrasal verb informal to successfully do something, quickly and easily. Rory expected to romp through the test and interviews. Sense romp home in UK to win easily. She is riding the fastest horse and is certain to romp home. Latent lying hidden. Sense at the age of 42. The artist first became cognizant of his latent genius. Sense latent adjective present, but needing particular conditions to become active, obvious or completely developed. Recent developments in the area have brought latent ethnic tension out into the open. We are trying to bring out the latent artistic talents that many people possess without realizing it. Latency noun U formal to go against the grain, to irritate. Sense my uncle is in favor of some protests, but certain demonstrations go against the grain. Easy to train. The chimpanzees are deemed by scientists to be the closest to man of all the living apes. Consequently, they are fairly easy to train. Several years ago, two married researchers embarked on an interesting project. They reared and trained a chimp in almost the same manner as they would have raised a child. The animal did beautifully, convincing the couple of the inherent ability of the chimpanzee. Cinema buffs who have seen Tarzan's clever monkey romp through the jungle also recognize the latent intelligence of those animals. Week 18 Day 4. Tortuous wandering. Since the other drivers were nettled about the ease with which our car ascended one half the tortuous road. Since tortuous adjective with many turns and changes of direction, not direct or simple, he took a tortuous route through back streets. The path to peace seems at last to be clear, although it may be a long and tortuous one. Tortuously adverb tortuousness noun. Itinerant winding. Scent signs were posted in the lobby to prevent itinerant beggars and others of that ilk from entering. Sense itinerant adjective, before noun traveling from one place to another, usually to work for a short period. An itinerant journalist, laborer, preacher. Itinerant noun. See peregrination. Travel. Since the sedentary and active twin was content to follow his brother's peregrination on a map. Since peregrination noun. See formal. A long journey, in which you travel to various different places, especially on foot. Conjugal relating to marriage. Since arguments over money have often led to conjugal havoc. Since conjugal adjective, formal, connected with marriage or the relationship between husband and wife, especially their sexual relationship. Conjugal happiness. Some prisoners who want to start a family are to be permitted conjugal visits. Since conjugal rights, plural noun, often humorous. The right to have sex with the person you are married to. He complained that he had been denied his conjugal rights. Barometer. Instrument to measuring change. Since the warmth of Mr. Smythe's greeting each morning may be construed as an excellent barometer of his health. Since barometer noun. See one, a device that measures air pressure and shows when the weather is likely to change. To something that can show how a particular situation is developing, or how people's opinions on a particular matter are changing. This survey is considered to be a reliable barometer of public opinion. To wink at. To pretend not to see. There was a plethora of evidence to show that the border guards would wink at illegal shipments if they were paid in advance. More facts about chimps. Chimps in the laboratory have demonstrated their ability to find their way out of the most tortuous maze. They can press buttons, manipulate levers, avoid shocks, etc. When food is placed out of reach, the animals can prepare a ladder of boxes to reach it. In his natural habitat, animal living place, the chimpanzee is something of an itinerant. He goes his nomadic way through the jungle, living on fruit, insects, and vegetables. With the aid of his long, powerful hands he can swing rapidly from tree to tree and cover considerable ground in his peregrinations. Chimps are loyal in their conjugal relationships, taking only one mate at a time. That may be another barometer of these animals' superior intelligence. Week 18 Day 5. A shameful situation. The plight of the migrant farm worker continues to frustrate the U.S. Labor Department, court officials, legislators, religious groups, and community agencies. Men, women, and children toil 6 and 7 days a week to earn as little as $5 to $10 a week after being overcharged for their food, medicine, and basic living needs. They are housed in ramshackle dormitories, often with non-functioning toilets, a barometer of their employers' contempt for them. They lack hot water and showers, and are given food that is barely fit for the human consumption. Unscrupulous contractors scour the countryside in search of homeless, itinerant, and unemployed men and women, offering to put them to work at good jobs picking fruits and vegetables. The U.S. Labor Department investigates the myriad of complaints of abused workers, issues fines, and revokes the licenses of contractors. But many such shady employers pay the fines, which they deem to be operating expenses, and continue to run company stores that cheat the workers, subjugate, conquer them with drugs and alcohol, accommodate them with advances on their paltry wages at high interest, and use violence against those whom they regard as troublemakers. Fred Jones, a typical migratory worker from South Carolina, claims to have worked for $6 cash out of his $158. His story is repeated by hundreds of others, who have been treated shabbily by corrupt contractors. Until sufficient funds are allocated by state and federal agencies, and until there is the proper public response, these abuses will continue.